So I think the big question here is that if people have been trained, have been prepared for an election, then they should run through the election process. The police itself should have a procedure, a mechanism for ensuring that where police officers compromise, even if they've been in the state for so long, that they can be brought to account. That's why you have election offenses created in the Electoral Act. That's why we've been advocating for the creation of an Electoral Offenses Commission to make sure that all stakeholders in the electoral process play their role, and where they compromise or subvert the process, they are brought to account.
So what then will be your recommendation? Because this is not happening the first time. We've seen it in previous elections. What will be the ideal recommendations from you that the security agencies can take, or even the authorities who are deploying the policemen?
Well, first, I think that the authorities need to be open, accessible. INEC has put out an information kit that gives information about all of its officials, right down to the polling units who are involved in elections. Phone numbers are put, contacts are put, complaint centers are set up. We need to see the police do that as well. The police needs to understand that the election process is the free exercise of mandate by people, that every of its official who is in the field responds to citizens' demands, is accessible, and work in the interest of a free and fair election. We want to see the police communicate that. We want to see the police engage citizens. We want to see the police state very unequivocally that it is involved in election for the purpose of ensuring that people can freely exercise their mandate. The other issue, of course, is the issue of encouraging citizens to come out and vote. While we might be worried about security issues, coming on ground here, going around, talking to people, yes, of course, there are threats that people should boycott elections, but when you talk to the ordinary people on the street, they are waiting, they want assurances that there is security on ground, but they do not want to see overwhelming over-policing that perhaps even discourages citizens themselves from coming out to vote.
So to this point, how have you been able to synchronize with the observers in this particular case? How well have you been able to synchronize with them just so that you are able to comb every other gray areas?
There are several observation teams on ground. The Nigeria Civil Society Situation Room is on ground, and several other groups as well who are observing this election. And yesterday we did have retraining of observers who are covering the 21 local governments. So we do have observers across the 21 local governments of the state. Several other groups have deployed, and the aim really is to try to cover as much of the polling units as possible. I'm not sure we'll get 100% coverage, but significant number of polling units will be covered. We're speaking with INEC to say, look, we would like to see electronic transmission of votes counted from the polling units to a central collation area so that the issue of manipulation of votes in between would be minimized or in fact eliminated. INEC has said that they will transmit election results from the ward level, but certainly from each of the polling units, we will be having reports of voting results from each of these polling units. And there are other election observation programs that are doing parallel voter tabulation. And the hope we have is that the information we get from the units right up to the final collation point will reflect the true will of the people.
All right, we'll go to break. We need to go to break. We'll come back and continue with you in that same train of thought in just a moment. Do join us again.